Quick note before we start. This video is for education and entertainment, and it's built on a genuinely alarming stack of research. Alright, let's dig. In a cave in southern Germany, archaeologists pulled from the dirt a slender object made from the wing bone of a vulture. It was hollow, carefully carved, with finger holes drilled along its length and a notched end shaped to be blown across. It is, unmistakably, a flute, and it is around 40,000 years old. 40,000 years ago, during the Ice Age, in a frozen Europe full of mammoths and cave bears, a human being carved a flute and played music. And if we could somehow hear it, we would recognise it. We might even be able to play a tune on it, because across 400 centuries the deep structure of music has barely changed. This little bone flute is proof that music is not a modern luxury. It is old, it is deep, and it may be one of the most fundamentally human things we do. Let me take you to the cave, and then let's ask the big question. Why do we make music at all? The region is called the Swabian Jura, in southern Germany, and its caves have produced some of the oldest art and instruments ever found. Alongside the flutes, the same caves yielded tiny carved figurines of ivory, one of the oldest known depictions of a human figure, and carvings of Ice Age animals. This wasn't an isolated fluke. This was a place where, 40,000 years ago, people were carving art and making music, a genuine cultural scene. Some flutes were made from bird bone, and at least one was painstakingly carved from mammoth ivory. Ivory isn't naturally hollow. To make an ivory flute, you have to split a piece of tusk lengthwise, hollow out both halves, carve the finger holes, and seal them back together airtight. That is a demanding, multi-stage piece of craftsmanship aimed at one purpose, making beautiful, patterned, deliberate sound. When researchers made replicas and played them, the results were startling. These weren't random noisemakers. The finger holes are spaced in a way that produces a real playable range of notes. Modern musicians have played recognisable melodies on reconstructions. The people who made them had a sense of pitch, of scale, of the relationships between notes that make a melody feel like a melody. That is not the beginning of a fumbling experiment. That is already musicianship. So here's the question. Why? Why do humans make music at all? From a cold survival standpoint, music is baffling. It doesn't feed you, it doesn't shelter you. It doesn't fight off predators. Carving a flute from mammoth ivory during an ice age, when every calorie mattered, is a huge investment in something with no obvious practical payoff. And yet music appears in every human culture ever documented, everywhere on Earth, with no exceptions. A behaviour that universal, that old, and that costly is almost certainly not a frivolous accident. It's telling us something deep about what we are. One big idea: social bonding. Music made together is one of the most powerful tools for creating unity. When people move and vocalise in rhythm together, something happens, a feeling of connection, of being part of a single body. For a species whose entire survival strategy is cooperation, a technology that bonds people together is enormously valuable. Music might be social glue. Another idea connects music to language and to the deep machinery of emotion. Music and speech share a lot of underlying equipment: rhythm, pitch, timing. A mother humming to soothe a baby, long before that baby can understand a word, is using melody to transmit calm, safety, love. That kind of musical communication may be older than language itself, reaching right down to the bond between parent and infant. Darwin suspected music might have begun as courtship display, like the song of a bird. Elaborate vocal performances in the animal kingdom are often about attracting a mate and advertising fitness. It's not an accident that so much of our music across every culture is tangled up with love and desire, and there's a use for music that's easy to overlook. Memory. Before writing, how do you store crucial information across generations? You put it into song. Rhythm and melody are astonishingly powerful memory aids. A tune locks words into the mind in a way plain speech doesn't. You can still sing songs from your childhood word for word while forgetting what you did last Tuesday. Oral cultures have used music and chant to encode and preserve their most important knowledge for centuries. Music wasn't only entertainment, it may have been one of humanity's first information technologies. And there's a simpler, more haunting possibility. Music moves us because it plugs directly into our emotions in a way we don't fully control or understand. A certain song can bring you to tears, or lift you out of despair, or send a chill down your spine, and you can't always say why. That direct line from organised sound to deep feeling appears to be part of the standard human package. The person who carved that flute almost certainly felt it too. The strange power of a played note to stir something inside. Music appears to be genuinely universal. When researchers analysed songs from a huge range of societies, they found shared threads, recurring features in lullabies, dance songs, healing songs, structures that show up again and again across cultures that never had contact. People can often correctly guess a song's social function. Lullaby, dance song, even from a totally unfamiliar culture, without understanding a word. That's the signature of something old and shared, wired deep into the species. It points back to a common musical root far down in our past, possibly older than our spread across the world. Think about the lullaby. Every culture has songs to soothe babies, and they share a similar gentle, repetitive, swaying quality. A baby can't understand words, has no culture yet, and yet a soft, rhythmic song calms it, anywhere on earth. That direct line from melody to a wordless infant's nervous system may be one of the most ancient functions of music. Long before the flute, before the first drum, there were surely parents humming to their children in the dark. That, more than any artifact, might be where music truly began. The honest caveats. There's a famous case of a supposed even older flute, a bare bone with holes, that was probably made by carnivore teeth chewing the bone. A few holes in a bone don't automatically make a flute, but the Swabian instruments are clearly, deliberately crafted. And just like with cave art, we have to remember that they're only the oldest that survived. Instruments made of wood, reed, skin, drums, simple pipes, would have rotted away completely. The human voice leaves no trace at all. Music is certainly far older than even these ancient flutes. People were surely singing long before anyone carved a vulture's wing. The flute is just the oldest echo that happened to turn to stone and bone and wait for us to find it. The real song started earlier, in voices that left no trace. Let me leave you with the image that stays with me. It's Ice Age Europe. It's cold, it's dark, and a small band of people are gathered in a cave, a fire throwing shadows on walls where carved animals watch, and someone lifts a flute made from a bird's wing to their lips and begins to play, and the others fall quiet, or they sing or they sway, and for a while in the middle of a hard and dangerous world there is music. There is that ancient, wordless feeling of being together, carried on a melody. 40,000 years ago, that happened. Real people made music in the dark for the same reasons we still do, to bond, to feel, to say the things words can't. The flute is proof that the soundtrack of being human has been playing for a very, very long time, and the person holding it was moved by it exactly as you would be. All the sources are in the description. The Swabian Jura flutes, the reconstructions, the figurines, and the debunked barebone flute. Go listen to a recording of a replica if you can. It's a strange and beautiful thing to hear the Ice Age sing. And remember, the person who played that flute in the firelight is your family, and they loved music just like you do. The next time a song gives you chills, know that you're feeling something 40,000 years deep, a thread that runs unbroken from a firelit cave to your headphones. So stay curious, put on something that moves you, and keep digging. See you in the next one. Bye. It is, unmistakably, a flute. And it is around 40,000 years old. Several flutes have been found, some from bird bone, at least one from mammoth ivory. To make an ivory flute, you have to split a tusk, hollow both halves, carve holes, seal them back together airtight enough to hold a note. Music, especially made together, singing, drumming, dancing, is one of the most powerful tools for creating unity. Some researchers think music and language grew up together, two branches from a common root of vocal, rhythmic communication. A mother humming to soothe a baby is using melody to transmit pure emotional information carried on sound. Darwin wondered if human music started as courtship display. Whether or not that was the original spark, music and attraction are clearly linked. That flute, and the voices around it, might have been carrying not just melody, but the accumulated knowledge of a people. We are creatures who have always been moved by music, all the way back into the Ice Age. When people listen to songs from totally unfamiliar cultures, they can often correctly guess a song's function. Lullaby, dance song. There's something about the form of a lullaby that carries across all of humanity, independent of language. Every human culture has songs to soothe babies, and they tend to share a similar gentle, repetitive, swaying quality. Music is certainly far older than these flutes. The human voice, our first instrument, leaves no trace. Someone lifts a flute to their lips and begins to play. The others fall quiet, or they sing, or they sway. In the middle of a hard and dangerous world, there is music. There is that feeling of being together, carried on a melody, for the same reasons we still do. To bond, to feel, to say the things words can't. The person who played that flute was moved by it exactly as you would be. The soundtrack of being human has been playing for a very, very long time, a thread that runs unbroken from a fire-lit cave to your headphones. The next time a song gives you chills, know that you're feeling something 40,000 years deep. They loved music just like you do. Stay curious. Put on something that moves you. Keep digging. See you in the next one. Bye.